Hey, greetings everyone. Thank you for being here for this tutorial in Act Marketing Automation. And in this one, I want to talk to you about a setting called Campaign Sync. And I think this is a way to get into Act Marketing Automation that you might not have considered because the nature of sending out a campaign is typically what we think about is, okay, here's 100 contacts, here's 1,000, here's 10,000 contacts. We want to send them all an email. Well, the nature of sending a campaign in ACT is this. When you send out an email, the first step is you have to do a lookup of all the people you want to send it to, and then save that as what's called a group in ACT. So let me give you an example. Let's say I looked up everyone in my database whose first name was John. And I use this example a lot, of maybe because my oldest son's first name is John. But on that note, if you created a campaign and you said, I'm going to send an email out to everyone whose first name is John, well, you could create the campaign, you could create a group that holds everyone whose first name is John, create this email, and send it out. But what happens if there are more people that come into your database in the future whose first name is John? Well, you could redo the campaign, you could try to isolate those new people, or you could do something called campaign list sync. Let me show you what I mean by that. When you have an email campaign that you've set up, you can come over to actions. And when you look at this area right here, it says campaign list sync. And I'm going to click on this. When you come into this area, you can turn it on. It is off by default. And when you click on this drop down, you can make a decision or two about how you want this handled. Do you want it to happen daily at, say, 8 a.m.? Or do you want it to happen hourly throughout the day? And you want this to continue forever, or do you want it to stop at some point? This is the key point I want to make. And I want you to think about Act Marketing Automation a little bit differently based on this point. So let's say that I turn the campaign list sync on, and today or tomorrow, the next day or next week, I add a new contact by the name of John. And I have the email going out to anyone named John called the John email. So now, when ACT recognizes that a new contact is in ACT by the first name of John, ACT will find that contact and automatically send this email to them. Another way to think of this is, let's say you have a new customer and you define them in ACT, maybe in the ID status field as customer or client, however you refer to them. Well, we can set it so that when you change their ID status to client, by default, an email goes out to them. So what's that mean? Well, what I think it means is we're putting the cart before the horse with Act Marketing Automation. We're creating something in advance that we anticipate someone might fit a criteria of which an email could go out to. So again, instead of saying, well, let's find all the people we want to send an email to, creating that email and sending it out, we're thinking in advance, what might we want to send out to certain types of people? And what's fascinating about this to me is when you do this, you can change the way you think about ACT and the way you think about ACT Marketing Automation. Let me give you another example. Let's say you're in the ice cream business and your contact has, or your contact layout, let's say you have 3 checkboxes, one for vanilla, one for chocolate, and one for strawberry. And before you even think about doing this, you've created the strawberry email campaign, the chocolate email campaign, and the vanilla email campaign. It's been created, it has this campaign list sync on, and it's just sitting there in the background waiting to occur. So now when you look at a contact, and I'll jump to a contact just to illustrate a point, when you look to a contact, you could literally have, and I know I don't have that in here, but you could literally say, okay, I've got a vanilla checkbox, chocolate, and strawberry. If all of a sudden you realize this particular contact likes chocolate ice cream, by clicking on the chocolate ice cream checkbox, that will set it up so that this contact gets the chocolate ice cream email. Strawberry, same thing, vanilla. So in other words, you're creating the email first in anticipation of doing things for a contact that might send them information. Now, on a company basis, think about this for your entire staff. You're doing all the marketing in advance and you're saying, hey, if you want them to get the vanilla email, just click on the vanilla checkbox. So if you recognize that you can do things a little bit differently with Act Marketing Automation, instead of thinking, find all the contacts, send out an email, create the email first, have it sitting in the background ready to go, and have it triggered by something as simple as clicking on a checkbox or something as simple as changing the ID status from prospect to customer, and then it goes out. So there's a lot of things you can do and get creative with Act, and it sort of automates the process and puts some information in front of you that you and your staff can use very simply. So I think it's a great tool, and I think it's wide open to interpretation, marketing, anticipation. And when you look at things differently about ACT, man, all of a sudden this becomes a very different tool. Okay, my friends, I want to thank you for your time. You have a great day. Be well. Bye now.